Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable Podcast. And today we are recording episode 101. And no, we will not be talking about Dalmatians, but more importantly, survival travel phrases to help you out on your next trip or adventure. Because let's face it, if you travel abroad, you don't have some basic survival travel phrases, you might be in a pinch. So I hope these survival travel phrases will help you all and you enjoy some of the new words and phrases that you'll be learning today. So without further ado, my buddy Jared, or my kamo, as we say in the Czech Republic, which means bro, could be a travel survival phrase, depending on how bro you are or not. Without further ado, my buddy Jared. What's going on, Jared?
Ahoy. Hola. Hello. This is
Konnichiwa?
Yeah. Shit.
Off to a great start. Hallo? Guten Tag?
Yeah. First of all, please, before we get into some more, we're spilling our seed too early. First, spread a little love and follow us on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast. I hope you enjoyed our episode 100. I hope you enjoyed our Chicago episode. Follow us on Twitter, Untranslatable1, the number 1. Follow us, email us, untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. Give us 5-star reviews. Spread a little love on iTunes and Stitcher, please. Follow us, watch us on YouTube. You can see these beautiful faces. Chad's now beardless, if you were wondering what that looked like. Check out his cleft chin. Or go to untranslatablepodcast.com and check out you're killing me. Check out the Untranslatables. You can see all of our backlog of episodes. You can see you can contact us there if you want to. Just spread a little love. Yesterday, I went to something called the Sincerity Project, and there was a lot of love spread in that room. What it was every 2 years, this theater group, they put on a show. It was at a place called Fringe Arts. I don't know if they do it there every time. And for some reason, they've committed to doing it until 2038. And they started in 2014. And so Sydney told me about this, and we saw like parts of the last ones on YouTube or something like that, and I was like, this looks so dumb. And I was going there kind of expecting to mock it. What it is that they put on, it's essentially like theater about their lives, and like they update on their lives and it's sort of like a documentary theater thingy. But I got there and I watched it, and wow, that was good. It was so good.
Oh, nice.
First of all, we left Sydney bawling. And not bawling, but she was definitely crying. Not just her, a bunch of people were. It was great. It was, so they do it every 2 years, and it's, this year they focused mainly on mourning and like a rebirth. So like 2 of the people's parents had died in the past 2 years.
Oh, jeez.
And one of the ones whose dad had passed away, she had recently given birth to a new kid. And so it was a lot about that. And it was very interesting. It was really cool. And they do it every 2 years. And even though I'm moving back home to Michigan soon, that doesn't mean I'm never coming back to Philly soon. And I hope to see it again sometime. It was very interesting. And I was really looking forward to mocking it when I left. But I was like, damn, that was kind of good.
weren't throwing any parties at their faces, huh?
No. A party was thrown in my face trying to think that I could make fun of that.
That's really cool. And
yeah.
Jared, that's really fascinating. Some of the books I've been reading lately, I forget which book it was. I kind of read sporadically like 3 or 4 different books at the same time. Probably a stupid idea. Would probably be more efficient to read one book at a time, but whatever.
I feel like it's better to read multiple. I feel like it's kind of like learning multiple languages or instruments at a time, reading a bunch of books at a time, I feel like. Granted, when I do that, I never finish any of them.
Right. And for me, it's about the journey, not so much the destination when it comes to reading, right? But anyways, as cliche as that is, anyways, one of the books though they mentioned, what would your funeral look like? What would people say about you? Who would be there? It was interesting to think about that. And I know you would be there. You would be roasting me the whole time. The entire eulogy would be just straight roasts.
I'd be there scoping out a new podcast co-host.
Oh, jeez.
We got 2 in the can, so I need to find a new co-host soon.
Right. But that's interesting though. Yeah. And I read something else too about how the way our society is set up today, like big corporations don't want people to realize that this is sad, but it's true, that we're all going to die one day. Because I think when you realize that we don't have all this time that we think we do. I mean, I remember being younger, stupidly thinking I was invincible, number one, when I was a lot younger, like a teenager. And number two is, people always say that phrase, you have your whole life ahead of you, right?
Right.
Unless you're like in your 50s or 60s, people usually say that, right?
Yeah. Well, they still have their whole life ahead of them when you're in their 50s. Like, it's still just as applicable then, too. But I know what you're saying.
Yeah. And so basically a lot of corporations, they don't want people they want to distract us because, think about it. If you always think you will always have more time, you'll probably spend less time doing what's really important, which to me would be spending time with friends, with family, playing my instruments and doing, reading, doing things that's important to me. But at least in American society, it's all about consume, buy, buy. Mm-hmm. And so that was also an interesting point as well, kind of related to mortality.
In the past couple of years, I've thought a lot about that whole you have your whole life ahead of you thing.
Right.
I'm starting to feel like, when you think about what you're doing with your life or like how you're making your money and all that stuff, it's like, man, this really makes me want to focus on doing what I actually want to do. Even though people would still tell me I have my whole life ahead of me because I am, young in the grand scheme of things. But it really does. You quickly start putting things into perspective once you're out of college specifically, I think. And once you're specifically like making your own living essentially. Where it's like, shit, I want to do this right. I don't want to be like 10 years into some career that I only kind of care about. Then it's like, I'm kind of trapped here. Right.
Yeah. And that's why I'm really lucky I've been able to come to the Czech Republic and teach English here. And it's really reaffirmed what I already thought was, I really love teaching and I'm very lucky. And this weekend was my last Fulbright meeting. And we are based more or less in the grand scheme of things pretty much done, other than teaching my last few weeks of classes.
Right.
Go ahead. What's interesting is, in the beginning of our program, we wrote ourselves letters.
That was actually. Please, are you gonna read it?
Yeah.
Yes. That was actually the only reason that was actually something that the Sincerity Project did. They allowed us to write letters to ourselves, and you can come get it. I didn't write one, but Sydney did, so maybe we'll see that in a couple of years. Do you remember what you wrote to yourself?
Well, I've read it a few times now, so okay. But at the time, no. When we got our letters back, I was like, what did I write? And of course, in stereotypical Chad fashion, over optimistic and super cheesy. But I got it right here. And I'm going to read it for all of you. But I've decided when I go to my next destination, I'm going to write myself a letter again.
Yeah, do it
I
for
might
yourself.
even send it to my parents or write it before I go and then read it when I come back home.
Yeah.
Other cool thing, though, which I also want to... Sadly, our listeners won't be able to see this, but everybody on YouTube can see this. What's also really, really sweet is they also hooked us up with these sweet T-shirts that say Fulbright Czech Republic.
Oh, that is cool.
It's like a comfy cotton T-shirt with navy blue, and it's has like the outline of Prague within the Czech Republic, and says Fulbright Czech Republic.
It kind of matches your hoodie from your school.
It does. I'll just have to rock these and be all checked out. So yeah. All right. So without further ado, though, let me read you what the Fulbrighter, formerly known as Chad. No, I'm still known as Chad. But so I wrote this on 8/29/2018, and it goes like this. Dear Chad, I hope this letter finds you well and you've been able to improve your knowledge of Czech. And I think here I meant not only the language, but the culture and the country as well.
I'd say you did that. You betcha.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, give me some you betchas if you think I've accomplished these things.
Okay.
Okay, let's see here. Make connections with your fellow English teachers, colleagues, and students.
Пожалуйста.
Represent Michigan and the U.S. with pride and dignity.
You betcha.
I'm not sure if I did that one, but I tried my best. If you can positively impact a few students and teachers, then you have done a good job. Hopefully, your clubs, as in after-school extracurriculars, will work out, and you can also become a part of the local community. Do your best in showing Czechs the breadth and depth of American culture. Continue honing and improving your teaching skills. Learn from your mentors and contribute in any way possible, which I definitely think I have done. I'm excited to meet my students. Now, I don't know why I went from third person to first person, but here we go. Bad writing technique, everybody. I'm roasting my own letter right now. I'm excited to meet my students and colleagues. And then back to the third person. Don't be afraid to go out of your comfort zone and try new things. Don't become discouraged if there are struggles, language barriers, and cultural misunderstandings.
You
betcha. Learn and grow from them. This is the start of an amazing new journey, so truly take advantage of every opportunity. Hopefully, when you are reading this, you have become smarter, stronger, and an overall better person.
Slipping on gator piss.
Remember, it is... Oh, here we go, Jared. Remember, it is not about the destination, but the journey. Mm-hmm. I don't know where and what you will be doing after this, but whatever it may be, give it your all. And then I ended it. My salutation is a good German phrase, an early little untranslatable for everyone. And I don't know if you know this one. Wenn schon, denn schon, signed Chad. Do you know what wenn schon, denn schon means?
Well, it's like it's like be good, essentially, is what it's saying?
Nope. Okay. No, wenn schon, denn schon is like you can only do it if you really do it.
Mm.
Like when you've already done it, you can say you've done it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
that's
nice. That's actually an Arnold Schwarzenegger quote. Wenn schon, denn schon.
Mm. I noticed he didn't mention the podcast. I was a little bummed about that, but that's okay.
I know, right?
Like you can't. I guess.
I hope okay. Jared continues to roast me on every episode. No, but yeah, it was. Well, this was, and it was kind of interesting though because they told us, they basically gave us free range. They were like, write this letter to your future self, and you'll get it at the end of this grant, and that was it.
Right.
So they didn't really say focus on these things, which is good. I think that's good. But sometimes when you have such an empty, such a blank slate, it's hard to know even where to begin. Right.
Yeah. And what do you want to focus on?
Exactly.
Was it an emotional setting in there?
It was. A few people got a little teary. I did not cry though, which I'm a little surprised.
You can just say it was you. You don't have to say it like that.
So I didn't cry, but I'm really worried that at the end of the school year, I think there's definitely going to be some tears. I have a feeling what's going to happen is one of my colleagues is going to start, and then I'm going to start, and then it's just the waterworks will be coming. But what can you do? When you make such great connections with people and really enjoy being with them and working with them, it's tough.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to the next chapter. It'll be great to be in Michigan. Great to see you and do some in-person podcasts as well.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So I can't complain. But now I think it's time to
spread a little love. No, I lied to you, by the way. I changed
you did.
my mind.
Okay.
I do have one, but you can go first.
So my first one actually goes out to our home state of Michigan, the Mitten, because
you betcha.
Michigan utility has okayed to close coal plants and boost renewable energy sources. So Michigan regulators on Friday approved a major utilities plan to phase out its coal-fired power plants and rely increasingly on renewable sources and energy efficiency to provide electricity. Jackson-based Consumers Energy, which supplies power to much of the lower peninsula, got the okay after modifying a proposal it initially submitted a year ago. So I think this is fantastic. Michigan, you're doing the right thing and going in the right direction. So it's absolutely fantastic to move more towards renewable and cleaner energy.
I agree. I went to the Pride Parade this morning, and it got me thinking. I meant to mention this, but it works as a shout-out, too. I wanted to say shout out to the entire LGBT community because I was there and it was cool to see all the all the stuff going on, and there were like moms with like free hugs for moms shirts and stuff like that. And it was very nice. And, when I left, I took public transportation there. When I left, I was thinking, I was about to, I have the sticker on and I had, some, these bead things on. And I was going to take it off. And I thought, I should leave it on because there is something to, there are people that live their life it's like, oh, I don't want someone to see me like this, or what if they see that or something like that.
Right.
And I was just thinking that people live their life in that fear. And the least I could do is wear this goddamn sticker till I get home.
That's very woke of you, Jared.
Thank you. And it just got me thinking about about the fears that I assume a lot of the LGBT community lives with on a daily basis. And it was cool to see all the fun that they were having. It was they definitely know how to party. It was loud. There was a lot of whistles. That was annoying. But it was cool. It was and it was cool to see all the different companies showing up. But there is that whole thing about obviously I gotta get negative in every shout out I give. But it was great, and I had to get up kind of earlier than I would like to on a Sunday, and I had to go to a parade, which I'm never excited to do, no matter what the parade is for. But I'm glad I went. It felt like a good place to be present at, and I want to say shout out to that. And it was also cool to see that there was no BS going on. There weren't any religious, at least that I saw, weren't any religious nuts standing somewhere.
No Westboro Baptist Church.
No, luckily no.
That is good.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, look, I think, also though, I don't understand why a bunch of people are like, well, why don't we have a straight pride parade? And I will tell all of you right now, the reason why is people in heterosexual relationships have not been persecuted for their sexual orientation. They have not been arrested or jailed, nor have they been executed because of their sexual orientation. And so the whole point of pride is to celebrate the fact that we are becoming more and more tolerant and accepting of the LGBTQ community in the States, at least, and hopefully other places around the world as well. And that's why we have these types of parades. You always get these whiners and complainers like, well, if they can have a gay pride, parade, why can't we have a straight pride parade? And it's like, come on, you dingus. It's very simple.
And also, what I always think of that, where it's like, no one's stopping you, first of all.
Right.
It's like, if you really feel this strongly about it, do it. See how many people show up and see,
right.
No one's stopping you. It's like, why don't we get to have one? Where it's like, well, much like the gay pride parade, someone had to put it together. It didn't just appear. Right. So it's like, hey, do it if you think it's so important. The Boston Bruins and the St. Louis Blues are currently in the NHL playoffs. And there was on Twitter there was these two Boston both on the same team or same fans. They weren't players, but they got into this crazy fist fight in the stands. And this gay dude I follow on Twitter was like, is this the straight pride parade everyone's been talking about?
Yes. Oh, that's funny. That is too funny.
But yeah, two fans on the same team were like they had groups of friends that were just brawling in the nosebleeds section.
Oh, jeez. That's no good. That is no good at all, that's for sure.
No.
Well, Jared, my next shout-out goes out to one of my favorite Chicago-based rappers. Also, check out our previous episode, or not episode, but our previous travel tips, dropping every 2 weeks on Saturdays about Chicago. I think you can guess the rapper. Good job, Jared. You read my mind. So Chance the Rapper has put out that he is going to buy groceries for one entire year. And so Chance dropped his latest single called Groceries and said people with the 10 best dance videos to that song would win free groceries for a year. So shout out to Chance, one for supporting these people with their good dance moves. I think that's great. And the first winner is a woman named Taylor McBride, and she is an Eastern State Connecticut University employee, and she actually submitted the video with her 18-month-old son Dawson, and she said she was so excited to find this out. And for a lot of people, this is a huge help. You know, I mean, just getting their groceries paid for. I think there's a lot of people that don't understand the struggles that a lot of people go through, paycheck to paycheck, struggling to put food on the table. And I think this will definitely free some of that up for some of these people. So shout out to you, Chance, for being so generous. And I think it's also cool, too, that he had them do make it a dance competition as well.
Right. And I bet you it'll also help maybe help them eat healthier, too, knowing that they can maybe be a little bit more selective when they're in the grocery store. And they don't have to, be a little more selective on what they eat rather than fully based off of price. I mean,
right. Just living off of ramen and
right.
I don't know what else.
Tostino's pizza rolls.
Exactly. Exactly. So my last shout out, kind of on a similar vein, goes out to a 5-year-old Alabama girl who uses her weekly allowance for blessing bags for homeless people in their town and hand distributes these bags on the weekends. So the mother of this girl is Haley Bennett. So one shout out to you for raising such a sweet daughter, for helping homeless in their town of Florence, Alabama. So the story goes, they saw a homeless man sleeping on a thrown out mattress near a dumpster. We cooked dinner and we brought him a plate. My daughter was like, "Where's his house? What does he do if it rains? What does he do if it gets cold?" These are honest questions a 5-year-old asks. And since witnessing the impacts of homelessness in her own community, Tinsley has been determined to help. So she has an allowance. She cleans her room and helps me with chores. But instead of buying toys, we will go to Dollar Tree and buy ponchos, umbrellas, among many other things. So I think that's really amazing. They fill these gallon-sized Ziploc bags and give homeless people in their area personal hygiene products, food, and different things. I think it's absolutely awesome. So
sure.
Sending a lot of love and shout-outs to Haley Bennett and Tinsley as well. So great job. Keep it up, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's cool. But you know what's even cooler? No,
You know what time it is, Jared.
Yes, for some untranslatables, which are idioms, sayings, proverbs that don't make any sense if you translate them directly to English, but really there's some meaning behind them. I have a couple. Actually, I have a few, I guess would be the proper term.
So you have 3?
Yeah, my first one is Russian, which means I have to get this close to my face so I can actually... Pianomu mori po koleno a lusa poushi. And it literally means the ocean comes up to a drunk man's knees, but a puddle comes up to his ears.
So does this mean like drunk people overreact about really small things?
You're so close. They overreact about something specifically. Something personal.
Something personal. They're out of booze?
No, that's hilarious. No, it's drunk people brag a lot, but are capable of very little.
Oh,
so it's like
that's a good one.
Like those drunk people that are always like talking about how hot shit they are. Kind of like Don, actually, telling you that he can beat you at
table tennis.
Table tennis.
We got to make that happen. Although I'm going to start training with my dad once I get back to Michigan, so I don't think he'll have a chance in hell.
It's exactly why we have to make it happen.
Right.
Shut him
true.
up for once.
Dad, if you're listening,
he's not.
The ping pong challenge is on. So I have 2 Czech ones because I'm feeling good about this. I think I can finish off strong.
I like the confidence.
If I can do it, I'm going to try to have 2 Czech ones until we're done.
Okay.
We'll see. It's a ballsy move.
You need about 6 more.
I think we can do it.
At this point, maybe 8.
Yep. So here we go. My first one is pustit si hubu na spazier, which means, well, you should be able to get spazier.
Is that like walking? Or
yeah, very good.
Like
very good. And it means to let your mouth take a walk.
Is that where you're let your mouth take a walk? Is that telling someone to shut up or the opposite? Someone's talking too much.
You're really close. We have an English untranslatable that has to do with your feet and your mouth.
Oh, where it's like you put your foot in your mouth.
Which
is
means
you like say something that's the bad timing, not the right thing to say, and it's just kind of an absent-minded thing. For example, today when I was at the Pride Parade, there was this one gay dude that was dancing a lot. He seemed like he enjoyed attention a lot because he would like go to a specific spot and just dance in front of a crowd.
Okay.
And this lady, well, I just put my foot in my mouth too, I guess. This person was handing out lollipops, and he's like, "Thank you, ma'am." And she's like, "I'm not a ma'am." And he's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." So I guess I made the same mistake.
There you go. There you go. Okay.
I also
fair
put my
enough.
foot in my mouth. I'm
Right.
talking about this other guy, and I did the same thing.
Right.
Oh, my next one's Indonesian, and it's hangat tai ayam, and it means warm little chicken poo.
Warm little chicken poo.
Mm-hmm.
Well, can you give me an example? I'm really lost on this one.
Okay. So,
This isn't like a pet name, is it?
no, that's hilarious. It can be, though, if you want it to be.
Oh, geez.
No, so say, for example, I have a good example. A couple of years ago, I went skiing in Vermont, and I was very excited because I like skiing. It's fun. But once I got out there, I didn't realize that it was like in the negative temperatures at the bottom of the mountain. So at the top of the mountain, it was even colder than that. And I quickly was like, this is not fun. I feel like I'm about to lose my nose and all limbs at any moment. Okay. And it was some real warm little chicken poo.
So it's just a bad scenario?
No. It's a person who's only excited to do something at the beginning when it's just starting, but they quickly lose interest and heart. And that's how I felt when I started skiing. I was like, oh, this is fun. And I was like, oh, God, I can't feel my fingers.
Okay. I can't feel my face. Okay.
Actually, one of the people we were with, his nose turned like that level of white that's like you need to get inside now level of, like it would just turn like completely white. And it was like, your nose is about to get frostbite. You might need to get inside.
You've never had like a longer beard in winter, have you?
No.
Because my mustache just turns to ice in the winter.
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah,
bad.
Yeah. Is it from like condensation from like your nose?
Breathing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Although I guess I'm going to have to get back used to this again, but there's always that feeling in your nose like you have like some big boogers in there, but I think it's just your nose hairs like freezing.
I think so, probably. Yeah.
But yeah.
Good times. Good times. All right, Jared, my next one, and I'm actually going to give you two more Czech ones. I'm feeling confident tonight. So this next one is Rika co muslina na jazyk přinese, which means he or they say whatever the saliva brings to his tongue.
Is this someone that rambles, or just this like says the first thing that comes, like they speak without thinking, essentially?
Yep, exactly. Hit that ham horn, my man. Absolutely. Yes.
What's the English literal again?
He says whatever the saliva brings to his tongue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's very descriptive.
Yep.
My last one is Icelandic, and it's "Ik kem alveg af fulum." And it literally means I came completely from the mountains.
Is that like you came unprepared?
No. You're taking it a little too literally.
Came from the mountains. You're tired? You're exhausted?
No, but I like that guess. I didn't even think about that.
What is it?
I'll give you a clue. So, you and I talk about music a lot. Sometimes I'll ask you questions about a guitar, and you'll almost always have a very long, in-depth answer.
Okay.
And imagine you telling me about that, then halfway through I'll be like, "Listen, bro, I came completely from the mountains. You
like you're not interested? You're not?
No. I'm always interested in everything you have to say. It means when you have no idea what people are talking about.
Oh, that's a good one. So like you don't understand. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
That is a good one. That's a good one. So my last one is Czech, and this is an adjective, and I believe it's an adjective, hubata, which means all mouth. All mouth.
Mm-hmm. Loquacious, a very loquacious person.
Would you say that people who are loquacious are brazen or insolent?
No. Loquacious just means you talk a lot.
So all mouth would be more like brazen or insolent.
What's insolent?
I think it's like they just. It's not only a lot of talk, but I think it's like you're kind of arrogant.
Yeah, I just Googled it. The definition is hold on, let's see. You may not have heard that. Showing a rude or arrogant lack of respect.
Yep, there you go.
Okay. All right. Well,
So
you
if
know
you're
what
in
we don't want to do when
Yeah,
we're traveling is be insolent.
that's true. You don't want to be all mouth or hubata
No.
when you're traveling.
And that's why I think it's important to learn some phrases.
Exactly. So before we get into survival language phrases at least I have multiple different languages up here that I'm going to attempt to do. First, let's just talk about like just some basic important phrases and greetings that you might want to know when you go. And first, we'll obviously talk about them in English, and then we'll move on to the other languages.
I actually, this is good because I don't have any other languages. All I had was first, why try to learn some simple phrases, and then we can get into what some of those phrases would be. That you'd
Good.
want to know.
So why should we learn them, Jared?
I think I have a couple of reasons. Number one is to make an effort to be respectful. I think it's just a respectful thing to at least try to speak the language. And obviously, most times, the person will be, even if you say the word properly, it'll be obvious that you're not from that language. But I think, at least in my experience, people always appreciate even the slightest effort being made. And so I think it's just a sign of respect. Another one, and I was actually just listening to a podcast unrelated to this, but is that not to get screwed over. I think if you show that you can at least, like this guy was talking about he was in Argentina, and they speak a very specific kind of Spanish.
Yep.
And when he was getting into a taxi to go somewhere, he spit out a couple of those words just so he didn't get like screwed on the fare, just so the person, just to, So I think it also shows that people will be less likely to screw you over because they might think, all right, he's not fluent or she's not fluent, but they at least kind of know something. So it'll be a little bit harder for me to do that. Another one I have is, in case of emergency, you never know. Maybe you want to know how to say police or hospital. I don't know.
Or help.
Or where is the if you're lost or something like that. So So I think just basic emergencies. And the last one I have is just just getting around, just basic necessities. Yeah, it's a sign of respect thing, but it also just makes your life easier if you can order something or you could just do basic things. It's not even like It's not. It doesn't have to be for a respectful reason. It's just to make your own life easier.
I agree, and I would also add to that not only is it very respectful, but I think it also shows the locals that you're interested and you're curious about the culture, which I think will also generally make them more likely to try to help you. Yeah. And I've had people really bend over backwards for me in like Germany and the Czech Republic. When I try it in German or Czech, right? I mean, I don't really need to try in German. I can do it now. But even way back in the day when my German wasn't so good, right?
Not according to that German teacher.
That's true. That's true. That's another story for another time. But yeah, and so
episode.
Yeah, and so the thing is like, it's just, and it's a good way to make connections with people because you don't come off as that ignorant, arrogant tourist who expects the country to conform to you.
Yeah, it's like, why don't they speak English?
Right, exactly. The reality is you need to conform to the culture you visit. I'm not saying that you have to, love everything about the country, support everything the country does. Maybe you have different religious beliefs, political ideologies, what have you. That's totally fine. But if you're visiting a country, it's very important, I think, to be respectful of the culture, like you said, and show an interest in the culture. And it will make your trip and all of your travels go so much more smoothly. You'll meet a lot of people.
Yes.
And people will hear your accent. And even though they might assume that you're probably from some Western country, depending on how you look, it depends. But I would say that I've had a lot of really interesting conversations with people, especially here in the Czech Republic, that would not have happened if I would have just gone up and spoken English with them. Because if you're willing to try in their language, they're so much more likely to also try in your language. or at least try to meet in the middle with English or whatever.
We
I
had
agree.
that situation in Berlin too. We had, or you mostly had conversation. I was just there. Had conversation with people in Berlin, but even when we were at Matthias's house, I attempted the few French phrases I knew with his girlfriend's Swiss friends, and we had like fun conversations about it. It's just like an icebreaker.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it will make your life so much easier getting around. Mm-hmm. I really tried to learn all the basics before coming to the Czech Republic. And I knew a lot of them. I've mastered, I would say my basics in Czech now are pretty good. Mm-hmm. All my basic stuff for the most part I can get done, other than calling a taxi. Every time I've called a taxi here, I have gotten hung up on. At least here in Komutov.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
What do you think the problem is?
I don't know I think they're just impatient because I call and I will tell them my address or I will tell them where I need to go and check. And I don't know if they think I'm like prank calling them or what I'm doing, but they always hang up on me.
Well, luckily we have Ubers.
Not here. Not in Komutov.
In Komutov. I got you.
Yeah.
Right,
in Prague, yeah, you're fine with Ubers. Mm-hmm. It was funny though. I took an Uber in Prague over the weekend. And I started speaking to the guy in Czech. He was actually Tunisian. And he was going on and on and on in Czech. And I understood like a third of what he was saying. But then he looked at me and asked me a question. And I told him in Czech, nerozumím. I don't understand. I don't understand.
Mluvite anglicky.
And he's like, oh, you don't speak Czech. He's like, I thought you were maybe Russian or Ukrainian or something. I'm like, Chad? You can see my name on Uber. Really? Is that, but... So yeah, but that was kind of funny, right? You never know.
Chadovsky.
That's right. But yeah, basic survival phrases, are super important. Just to reiterate what you said, Jared. Yeah, for emergencies, it's great. For basic things like shopping, hotels, taxis, and I will also agree that it definitely can save you getting scammed. And at least one tip I have for our listeners out there who are traveling to the Czech Republic. Prague has a very negative reputation when it comes to taxi drivers. The trick is you have to ask them, you tell them where you need to go, and you ask them what it will cost. And then there's a fixed rate, more or less, and then you're good to go. But a lot of people, if you just get in, and I will tell them in Czech, I'll say kolik to stojí, which is like how much does it cost, and they tell me in Czech. And if it, to me, is a fair price, I'll get in the cab. If it's not, I won't. Now I usually use Uber, but in the beginning, when I first got here, I actually didn't have Uber on my Czech phone, and so I would use the cabs here in Prague. And so that's another really good point. Another thing, too, I was in Germany, in Frankfurt, and I was walking around the Bahnhofsviertel, or the train station quarter, and it's kind of a seedy area of Frankfurt. Like, that's where the red light district is. Mm-hmm. You see a lot of junkies. There are a lot of strip clubs or brothels. And I was walking by one of I don't know if it was a strip club or a brothel, but the guy stopped me in English. He said, oh, here's a drink voucher. Come on in. For you, no entrance fee, whatever. And I told him in German.
Entering the building, but there's an entrance fee if you're entering somewhere.
You're not wrong, Jared. But he said, he said this to me in English, and I said in German, I don't have time. I'm meeting with friends, which was actually a lie. I was just walking around, and then he was super surprised and completely changed his demeanor, and then started speaking to me in German. And this was summertime, and when my beard is much, much shorter now, but it was longer at the time. In the summer, I get some red hairs in my beard. Mm-hmm. And he told me, he was like, oh, I thought you were like Irish or Scottish or something. Like, sorry. Although, like,
I'm always like, sorry, I meant to scam a tourist, not
exactly.
a local.
Exactly. So, yeah, so it can definitely help you, without a doubt. But the other thing is, too, and I would say, other than these survival travel phrases we will be discussing, do your research on the countries you go to. Figure out what are the typical scams, because there are a lot of tourist scams in different places. Depending on your clothing, your ethnicity, a lot of different things, you might stick out in different countries and cultures. So be aware of these things so you know how to prevent them, for sure.
Yeah. One of my favorite scams that I had to, it was not really a scam, it's kind of, was when I went to Morocco. They have a lot of, they have a bazaar kind of area where you can buy a lot of stuff and knock off stuff and all that. Mm-hmm. And
you have to haggle with them, right? Like
right,
negotiate.
right. And they always start way higher for the tourist for prices, obviously.
Of course.
And so it's first they what I was told was immediately cut the price in half, if not more. Like so, if they say 40, start at 15, and then you have to be ready to walk away. And like usually when you walk away, they'll call you. Like most times they'll call you back and be like, no, okay, that price
Right.
works.
My German friend did that actually at the Naschmarkt when we were in Vienna. And this guy offered him these knockoff Ray-Bans. And first he was like 10 euros. My friend was like, all I really will do is 5. And he's like, the lowest I can go is 7. He was like, all right. And we started to leave. He was like, okay, 5 euros.
Nice. I probably would have just gone with the 7.
Right. But like the thing is, if you think about these people, it's better. I'm sure he bought those sunglasses for less than $1. I mean, they're knockoff
probably.
Ray-Bans, right?
Right.
And so $5 is better than $0.
For sure. And it's he'll probably get some scam someone into paying 15 euros later that day.
Oh, I'm sure, maybe even more.
There were, at the Pride Parade, there was shirts that said "Gay fucking Pride," and and on the back, what did it say? It said something about like if you don't support LGBT people, like shut your bitch ass up or something like that.
That's funny.
And they were like kind of like, they're not knockoff, I mean, because there's no branding, but they were like just like locals were selling them on the street, and they were just kept yelling, "Gay fucking pride! If you don't like it, shut your bitch ass up!" And I didn't realize that was on the shirt at first. I was like, "Damn, that's a strong selling technique."
Right.
Then I realized,
No kidding.
oh, that's what it actually says on the shirt.
That's funny. That's good. That is too funny. Well,
right.
Jared, I think we should get into some of these phrases. So I think one of the most important ones, if I would say, at least for me, the 2 things you should learn, even if you're bad at language learning or whatever, hopefully you tune into the Untranslatable podcast so you can learn more about language learning and such.
You betcha.
But I would say our greetings and pleases and thank yous.
Yes.
For me, that is like
sure.
the top 2 or 3 or 4 if you count hello, goodbye, please, and thank you. Then 4 words in a foreign language. And I think they're super crucial. So let's go through.
By the way, I've forgotten how to say goodbye in Czech. And hello, for that matter.
No, you didn't. You said it at the top of the episode.
No, well, that's like the short way. I forgot how to say like the more formal way.
Yeah, if you heard it, you would know. It starts with a D. 2 Ds, actually.
Dobrý den. Yes.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, so let's go through
Dobro
just...
noc. That's right. All right, I remember.
Good,
Okay.
that's good night. Yeah, that's
Dobrý
good night.
večer.
Oh, see, you got them. That's
All
good
right,
afternoon.
I remember.
Or that's good evening. Sorry. Dobrý večer is a good evening.
Okay.
Good evening. Yeah, dobro noc is good night. Yeah, so let's go through and talk about the different hellos we know in some foreign languages.
Okay.
So obviously English, we have hello. Or if you're in Australia, I guess, what do they say? Good day? Do they actually say
G'day.
that?
Probably.
Okay. So we got English
Hello.
covered.
That's what the British people say.
Right.
All right. Anyway,
Oi.
I know Spanish, hola, or buenos dias, or Japanese, konnichiwa, or good morning is ohayo gozaimasu, and how do you say goodbye in Japanese?
Sayonara.
Yeah, thank you, sayonara, suckers.
Don't say that. Don't say that when you go.
French, bonjour, or au revoir.
What's bonsoir?
That's like good evening.
Aha, okay.
Like voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? That's tonight. And
that whole phrase means something different, but
well, right. But I was just saying all that to get to tonight.
Right.
And then obviously au revoir. What are some other languages? How do you say goodbye in Czech?
ahoy.
Well, that's the chill way. What's the official?
Nasledano.
Nasledano.
Or nasla is the shorter one.
Nasla. Okay.
Nasla. Let's see here. All right, now I'm trying to think of other languages we missed. Let's see here. So we had Czech, Dobrý den, we covered.
German.
Let's see here.
Hello.
Hello. Guten Tag.
Auf Wiedersehen, tschüss.
What do you say, though, in Austria?
Not Grüß Gott. That's
Yeah.
Oh,
Grüß
is
Gott.
it?
Yeah, that's
I
in
thought
Austria.
that was southern Germany, but I guess they both say the same thing there.
Right. Grüß Gott is Austria, southern Germany. Informal for Austria with your friends would be Servus.
Right.
But if you're already friends with them, you would probably know all that. Servus. Let's see here. In the Czech Republic, I also hear people say, instead of, I hear ahoy, a lot of people here also say ciao, which is Italian actually. But they'll also say nazdar for like hello in the Czech Republic as well.
Ciao is very, not very universal, but it's pretty universal in Europe.
Yeah.
And it's like the aloha of Europe. Like it means both hello and goodbye, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah. And then, do you know Russian? How to say hello in Russian?
No.
Привет.
Oh, right. I did know that.
Привет.
Damn it.
Пожалуйста.
I did know that.
Yep. Chinese? Do you know how to say hello in Chinese?
No.
Ni hao.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah,
And how
I knew
and
that one too.
I think how are you is ni hao ma. I think.
Oh, I know Korean is annyeong.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Or annyeong haseyo, I believe is like the longer way to say it.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's the formal. Annyeong haseo. And Portuguese formal is hola.
Hola? Yeah, I figured. It's a good guess, really.
You know Arabic, right?
No. Oh, yeah. It's salam.
The longer one, though, I think is assalamu alaikum.
Okay. But I think they do also say salam, if I'm not mistaken.
And I love that phrase because at least assalamu alaikum, do you know what that actually means, Jared?
No, I don't.
Peace be upon you.
Oh, okay.
And I had a buddy, you might remember him. I had a buddy that we would play soccer with back in East Lansing when we would play indoor. There were those couple Syrian guys, remember?
Yeah, I don't remember them specifically, but I know who you're talking about.
And I would say salam or assalamu alaikum to them. And when my friend explained that to me, he said that technically speaking, when you say this to someone, you should not ever do harm upon them. Like you should never hurt them. You should never wrong them. Obviously, theory and practice are two different things, but I think it's a great sentiment.
You did some hurt on that soccer field, though.
He definitely did. I didn't, but he definitely
they're actually
did.
way better than both of them.
They were fantastic. So yeah, hellos are very important. Let's see if I can find some other ones for you. Let's see here. Oh, Hindi. Do you know Hindi?
No, I should though. My neighbors spoke Hindi in Germany.
Namaste.
Oh, that makes sense.
Namaste. And then Russian. So Russian has formal and informal, and privyet, I'm pretty sure, is informal. Formal would be здравствуйте.
Здравствуйте.
Formal, yeah.
Пожалуйста.
Right. And then let's see here. So, merhaba. Do you know what language that would be?
Merhaba. It's no, I have no idea.
Turkish.
Oh, okay.
And apparently you can also hear this in areas of Cyprus, and similar also in Azerbaijan, parts of Iran, Georgia, and Balkans as well. Sign Bainu is Mongolian for hello.
Are we about to go through every country in the world right now?
No.
Oh, okay.
Also, though, marhaba, so not merhaba, but marhaba is informal Arabic.
Okay.
As well. Hausa is sanu or salam alaikum, depending on where.
Swahili is jumbo. Jumbo.
Yeah, jumbo, very good. Yeah. Yep, ni hao is Mandarin. Let's see here. Actually, and that's all I have on my list. So there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to go through every country, but yeah, the hellos are very important. And the nice thing is though, if you don't know how to say hello, a lot of times if you go somewhere, people will greet you with it. And my tip is just repeat what they say. Now you do have to be careful with some languages. They may have different ways to greet men and women. Like the ending on the word might be different or something like this. I know
like
in
formal versus informal situation.
That as well. It's always safe to go on the more formal side. It's better in my opinion, it's better to be corrected because you were too polite than not polite enough.
Mm-hmm. What were you about to say about Arabic, by the way?
Arabic, I know they have a different ending, I believe, for men and women. Like, what's your name is different The verb is different for men than for women. So just be aware of some of those things. But the nice thing is, as a foreigner traveling, people usually give you a lot of leeway. I always screw up the endings on Czech words because they change depending on the case, and they understand me.
Yeah.
They do correct me, but I'm like, what? I get it, but why are you correcting me? I'm not gonna remember it. Like, I didn't take a Czech grammar class. That's just the truth, you know. It's just the truth. And at this point, I could care less about the endings just because I'm not going to be a Czech teacher. You know, I'm not. You know, so.
And this is survival Czech.
Exactly.
You know, you're just trying to get around. It's like, you know what I'm saying.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So the greetings are very important. Now let's look at some ways to say please and thank you. So Jared, how do you say it in Spanish?
Please is por favor, and thank you is gracias.
And then what do you say for your welcome?
De nada.
Very good. Which literally means for nothing.
Yeah. Or of
Which
of
Czech?
nothing, but yeah.
Which Czech, they also have a similar one. So you say, what do you say in Czech? Do you remember for please?
Děkuji.
That's thank you.
Oh, excuse me. Prosím.
Very good. Yeah, prosím is please. Děkuji is thank you. Then you can answer with prosím again as like a you're welcome. Or you can say není zač, which means like also like for nothing. So similar to Spanish.
I bet
How
you
about
most
French,
languages
Jared?
have like a for nothing. Like German, you could say mach nichts or something like that, or kein Problem or anything. French, s'il vous plaît is please, and merci or merci beaucoup is thank you,
and beaucoup is thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're welcome is de rien.
And then here, I don't know either. And German is great because you only need to know 2 words and you can get a couple different sayings for them.
Yeah.
Bitte is please. Danke or Dankeschön is thank you. Dankeschön, thank you very much. And then you can just repeat bitte after they say Dankeschön or Danke as you're welcome. The crazy thing, though, is the Germans use the word bitte for a lot of different scenarios, right?
Yeah.
So if people are talking and you don't hear them, you could say bitte, like what? You know, or could you repeat that? When your waiter or waitress is handing you your plate, they might say bitteschön. Or when they come up, right, or when they come up to your table to take your order, they might also come up and say bitteschön. Like, okay, it's crazy. There's actually
very flexible. Right,
which is great though. I love it. That word is just so versatile in German, that one word, which is great. And Italian, the please is similar to Spanish. It's per favore.
Per favore.
And thank you.
Grazie.
Yep, good. Portuguese, do you know?
Yes. Well, I don't know how to say thank you. Por favor, I don't know how to say thank you. Or please, excuse me. I know
Obrigado.
How to say... Yeah, I was going to say, I know how to say thank you. I don't know how to say please is what I meant
It's
to say.
por favor. They probably
okay.
pronounce it differently, but yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't know obrigado. I didn't know that. Just making it clear. I knew that, everyone.
Right. And then thank you in Chinese is...
Sheshe.
Yep, sheshe. Let's see
I don't know how to
here.
say please, though.
I think it's... how do you pronounce this? I think it's like tsing. I could be wrong with my pronunciation, people. Jared's looking it up. We'll see. But yeah, sheshe is thank you. Okay, there you go. Yep.
Tsing.
And then Arabic, so please to a man. Here we go. So this is what I meant with the differences with men and women. So please, if you're saying it to a man, is min fadlak. To a woman, min fadlik. So that ending is different. Do you know thank you in Arabic, Jared?
No.
Shukran.
Shukran. I did not know that. No.
Shukran. See, we're learning here as well, so this is great. And then Russian is, what's please, Jared?
Пожалуйста.
Very good. Thank you, David. And do you know thank you?
No. Is it similar to Czech?
No.
Okay.
Spasiba.
Pasiba.
Spasiba.
Spasiba. Gotcha.
Is thank you in Russian. Japanese, as we said, thank you is arigato. What is please? Do you know?
No.
I believe I'm probably going to butcher this pronunciation, but I believe it's onigashimasu.
Okay.
Probably said it wrong, but yeah. And then the crazy thing about Swedish is please is tak, and guess what?
Tak tak.
Thank you is also tak.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's easy. Tak,
Mhm.
tak.
Yep. Yep. And the interesting thing is, too, a lot of, you have your Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese that all are similar, right? So there are some similarities with these as well, with the pleases and thank yous. And I think, at least for me, when I think of an ideal traveler or tourist or guest in a country, would be someone that is respectful of these different cultural differences and does try to speak the language a little bit, which is why we wanted to do this episode, and why the pleases and thank yous can be so very important when you go places.
So we don't need to get into translating all of the words, but I have some other phrases that I think are important to know. Excuse me, which sometimes could be the same as please or thank you, depending on where you're at.
Right.
Where is blah 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 blah.
Yep.
I think could be very useful. Another one that I think is very useful.
Mluvite anglicky.
Which is, do you speak English and Czech? But, learn in whatever language you're going to. How much? I think it's very important. How do you say? I think could be useful.
Yep.
I would like.
Oh, definitely.
Is also important. That makes it so, like you could essentially, with I would like and please and thank you, you can essentially go to a restaurant and order something and have that taken care of.
Yep.
Another one I have just because maybe you're actually having a more casual conversation is I am from.
Yep.
Soy de Michigan. I'm from Michigan.
Muy bien.
And that's all I have.
Another one, I think you missed a very, very, very important one. My name is, and what is your name?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I think those are very important, especially if you're meeting locals and they're being friendly with you. You should definitely ask them some questions about themselves. And if you can, obviously hello is great, but if you could also, say, my name is blah, 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 I am from, what is your name, where are you from? And depending on the culture, it might also be useful to know how to say, how are you?
Yes.
That's a very important one. It depends, though. In the States, we use how are you more like a greeting. So be aware if you're an American listening to this episode, people will give you weird looks if you go abroad and you say, hi, how are you? And then just keep walking down the street. Don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that. That's a bad look. But yeah, excuse me is an important one. Also, one that I made sure to learn before I came here was nice to meet you.
Yeah,
that's a good one as well.
Especially
nice to meet you.
Going into, for you specifically, going into a job surrounded by Czech people.
Right, exactly. And then also this one could
say it.
Nice to meet you is těším mě.
Okay.
Which is confusing though, because in Czech if you say těším se, that means I am looking forward to. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah. Another one that now this is where, like we mentioned kind of at the top of the main segment, do your research about the culture and find out if this is an appropriate question to ask or not. But another one could be, how old are you? Might be appropriate, might not be. Depends on the culture.
When is that coming in handy? I wonder.
When you're trying to get to know somebody better.
Okay.
How old are you? Because if you don't know, so if I can't gauge how old you are, and I don't know how old you are, if you're 18, I'm probably not going to say, oh, what do you do for a living? I mean, you could ask that, but if you said, oh, I'm 18, I would say, oh, are you studying? Are you working? Yeah. Exactly. But be careful with that. Some cultures that might be inappropriate.
If the person says they're 18, my response would be goodbye.
Gotta be more open-minded when you make friends, Jared. But anyways, another good question to ask is, what are your hobbies? And this is a Czech phrase I have asked many, many people. And it is, jaké jsou tvé oblíbené koníčky? Which are, what are your favorite hobbies?
How would you say that in German?
Was sind deine Lieblingshobbys?
Okay. All right.
Or I tend to use the phrase, what do you like to do in your free time? Was machst du gern in deiner Freizeit? Which is a good one.
Yeah,
I've definitely busted that one out in Germany plenty of times. So yeah, and also
it's so funny. Like these ways to make conversation seem so foreign to me. I was like, oh yeah, I guess you could ask someone that. That's a great way to make conversation.
Right. We should do an episode on on like having conversations.
I think
That would be kind of fun.
We definitely
mean,
have a small talk episode.
Right. Well, but I think it would be fun to do an episode maybe about deeper conversations, because small talk is okay, but it's really fun when you can have those deeper conversations. 2 very basic phrases we completely forgot that I cannot believe is how to say yes and no.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Those are super important.
Yeah,
How to say yes
there.
and no. Right. Start with yes and no and hello. Start with yes and no, hello, thank you, and maybe goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And please and thank you. But
Those
yeah,
are the
as you
absolute
said,
basics for sure.
Right. And also, as you said, Jared, do you speak is an important one. Mluvite anglicky.
Mluvite anglicky
Is one. Do you speak English? I've asked that many times. And what's funny is when I ask that here, the response I generally get is no.
But
And then I speak English with them, and they speak really good English.
And then they know exactly what you're saying.
Exactly. Now, on that same vein, so some phrases and things about language and communication. Obviously, do you speak? One that's been very useful for me is I don't understand. In Czech, that's nerozumím, and that has saved me quite a few times because people will just keep talking and talking, and they'll see the look on my face, and they won't completely get it. And then when I say nerozumím, then they're like, oh, okay.
Seems like you have an unwanted guest.
What?
It seems like you have an unwanted guest in your home right now. I see
Yeah.
you like looking around, slapping shit.
Some mosquitoes. Yeah, it's that time of the year, unfortunately. Another important one, too, is could you speak a little slower? Now, I will say this. For a lot of people traveling out there, depending on the country you go to, if you can get a cheap SIM card and your phone is unlocked, I would highly suggest downloading Google Translate. Now, if you're in some Asian countries, especially like mainland China, you will not be able to access Google just on a basic Chinese SIM card. So then you want to download different apps and translators and things like this. And ideally, you want to find one that has usually like a little speaker icon or like a little volume icon, and you can click it and it will say it.
Yes, that would be great. So it's even better than showing them your phone and they got to like squint and be like,
Exactly. And yeah, so some other ones which are important that Jared mentioned, how much I would like if you're at a restaurant. Also, I think sometimes it's helpful to learn the words for cash or card. I learned those very quickly here because whenever I would ask to pay, which do you remember how to say that, Jared?
Zaplatme, prosím.
Very good.
Parada.
And a lot of times they'll ask me, or they say, I'm trying to think now. Hotovost is cash and kartu is card. So they would ask me that in the beginning, and then, I would tell them cash because I usually pay by cash here. So that's also useful to know.
Yeah. There are a lot of places here in Philadelphia that don't take card, like restaurants and stuff, especially like BYOB ones. So that's definitely a good thing to know, even if you're coming to the U.S.
Right. Yeah, it's good. I always try to bring some cash on me when I travel because you know what they say, cash is king. So if you're in a jam, you can use cash. Then, it's not like if you go to a restaurant, all you have is a card. Well, if their card machine is down, I don't know how you're going to pay for your dinner. So yeah, it's also good, I think, to also understand phrases like, obviously you could just say no, but phrases like I don't want or too expensive, something like this. I've heard stories of people going to countries where they do have a lot of like bartering and haggling and negotiating for stuff. And some of these salespeople can be very, very aggressive and kind of in your face. And you can just tell them like, I don't want, I'm not interested. And if you learn that in the local tongue and you say it, I think they're probably going to get off your back much, much quicker.
I feel like you have a lot of expectations for someone traveling to a country for the first time on things that they should learn.
I'm just trying to get them as prepared as they can.
They got to take like a 6-week intensive course.
You better believe it. Or tune into the Untranslatable podcast.
Even better. That's true.
Right.
That's true.
Also,
learn Untranslatables.
Exactly. I think the other thing, though, as you mentioned, is just where is. Where is can be very, very useful. Now, the only tricky thing with where is if they answer in the language and you don't know it. That's when I've done that here in the Czech Republic and they've started to say stuff, I'll point. So
Yeah,
I'll point,
yeah.
and then they'll point, and then I know, okay, so they mean you go left here, right? And that helps as well. And the crazy thing is, I think what you learn when you do a lot of traveling is that you can get a lot done with gestures and like there are ways to communicate without speaking the same language, and you can get things done. But it's
for sure.
helpful to still learn some basic travel phrases without a doubt.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think that was great. I want to hear about the song of the pod because I'm curious about it.
Okay, so let's
I'm
talk
always-
about it.
It always seems like yours have a story behind them, and this
Yeah.
seems like it would too.
This does.
And it's words by Mala Ruckus,
Mm-hmm.
and they're a Czech band. I noticed from Prague, but this song at least is in English, and they're I guess what you would consider like a indie sort of rock group or like a what would you call like acoustic?
Yeah, I'd call them
group.
indie. I'd call them an indie group. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. Here's the story. Before we get into the song "Words" by Mala Ruckus, if I remember correctly, they actually formed, I believe, in either China or Taiwan. And I met them.
Is that where they met, or did they know each other already?
I'm not really sure.
Okay, but you said you met them.
I have. Well, I met the singer and the guitar player. And by singer, I mean the gentleman with the longer kind of light brown hair and the guy sitting next to him to his left playing mandolin. If you watch our YouTube video, which will be out on our Twitter, Untranslatable1, or on our YouTube channel as well, Untranslatable Podcast. So I've met these guys at the secret bar. I took you and Don there, didn't I?
Nope.
We didn't go there. Okay.
Because he said it's usually not open during the week.
That's right. So I met them at the secret bar in Prague. And what's funny was this secret bar has guitars on the wall and you can play them. And so I was, I don't know. I love playing guitar at my apartment and I love playing with a band, but I hate it when people are like, oh, just go up and play something. Go up and play. Because I'm like, what do you want me to play? Like what, you know?
But don't you have a lot of songs that's like in the top of your head?
Well, sure. But if I'm there by myself, I would rather just kind of noodle on the guitar. But that's not really super interesting for other people that are there. And so I was like, all right, well, what's a song that I know that's like a pretty guitar song? And of course, Jimi Hendrix wrote some of the best guitar music out there, in my opinion. And so I played "Wind Cries Mary" by Jimi Hendrix, which check that song out, all of you, if you've not heard it. It's amazing. I love the lyrics. The guitar part's fantastic.
Did you sing it?
Wait for it.
I'm sorry.
So I was playing "Wind Cries Mary," and it starts out with this pretty little intro. I'm really tempted to go get my guitar and play it, but I won't. But it starts out with this really nice intro, and then it starts into the verse. And I started playing the verse and kind of doing a couple other little like fills and stuff since I wasn't singing. And they had a microphone set up. And then I did the little like interlude between the verse and the chorus. And then the singer from Mala Ruckus, and I cannot remember his name, Canadian guy, super awesome, came up and started singing it. And this dude has pipes. He sang it word for word, was perfect. We had a great conversation. And then it turns out the guy who's playing the mandolin in the video, who I think he's actually their lead guitar player, but I could be wrong. But we had like an hour conversation about Jimi Hendrix and guitar and everything. And these guys were just super nice and super awesome. And I actually saw them again this weekend while I was in Prague. And so then I realized, oh, these are a very international group of guys, great band. And what's interesting, though, is so the video for "Words" by Mala Ruckus on YouTube is actually an acoustic take, which is fantastic. But I actually prefer, they have a version on Spotify. It's off of their EP, Beast of Our Babylon, which came out last year. And it's awesome. Check it out. The harmonies are great. The guitar parts are great. I love the lyrics. The lyrics are absolutely fantastic. I'm trying to think what they are off the top of my head now. I mean, it seems like Now, well, you know what? I'm not even going to say what it's about because that kind of ruins the fun for all of you. So give it a listen. We hope you enjoy it. Words by Mala Ruckus. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I'll post the spot. You said Spotify?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have Spotify, so that might get tough. I was gonna say I'll post the Spotify version to Twitter. I'll figure it out. I can do everything.
I mean, you can post the YouTube one too. I mean, the YouTube one's fantastic as well.
Yeah, that's true. I will do that. I will definitely do that. But you're saying that you like the other version as well.
What were your thoughts on it though, Jared?
I liked it. It was chill. I like the harmonies. If I'm not mistaken, there were a good amount of harmonies in there. Their voices sounded very nice. Yeah, it was a good song. I liked it. And I liked their story because there was something about how at the very beginning how they got in trouble for performing like on the street in China or something like that. And also I noticed that they're like, this was part of some sort of series that they called Gorilla Gigs. Gorilla at GEU or however you spell it, not gorilla the animal. And so I like the idea of whatever it was that, I put it together in my head. But I like the idea of that sort of Gorilla Gigs thing. And I liked it. I thought it was great.
Right. And sorry, actually, I made a mistake. So actually, Words is off their album, People Mountain, People Sea. So check that out, Mala Ruckus. You can also get it on their website, malaruckus.com. So also check that out. It's always great when we can support our musicians. And I'm sure they get probably better pay from their actual website than off of Spotify. So yeah, and they have a couple of videos on YouTube, and apparently some merchandise coming soon as well. So check them out. And I have to say, the guitar player is absolutely fantastic. I'm a huge fan of his playing. He really does a lot of really tasteful, great stuff. His phrasing is impeccable. So check them out, Mala Ruckus, Words. It's a fantastic song. You will not be disappointed.
Yeah, you betcha. All right. Czech word of the pod, please. Coming down to the final couple Czech words of the pod.
And this word is přežití.
I don't even know where to begin.
Survival.
Oh, okay.
Survival.
My Spanish word of the pod, I'm still taking my lessons. I actually might do one today.
Nice.
Is viajar. Or, that's a noun or a verb. Or I'll give you also the noun, which is viaje.
Oh, viaje is travel.
There you go. Good job. And viajar is to travel, obviously.
Yep. The infinitive.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So whenever I do these Spanish lessons, my Spanish teacher, Sydney, always seems to be emotionally, physically, and mentally drained at the end of them.
Okay.
And I think
do you ask a lot of questions?
Of course I do. I feel like that is something to do
good
with me.
That's a good thing, though.
Could you give some tips for some home teaching? How to a good way to go about it? I mean, I know you're not like experienced at learning
for
a language
her
at home.
or for you.
I guess both. Whoever you have the tips for. You're a teacher, but you've also done some guerrilla language learning.
Yeah.
If you haven't, I know I'm putting you on the spot.
So number one.
I'm always
number
like,
one.
I don't have to do this.
This is number one. This is for both of you, and I think it really goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyways. Key is patience.
Yes.
Key is patience.
She's more patient than I am. I feel like I'm always getting annoyed when I make.
So then that's for you.
I should know
patience. Patience. Well, here's the other thing. When you're learning a foreign language, you need a lot of input. You need to see the words, hear the words, read the words, write the words, blah, blah, blah. And it takes time. That's why it always drove me crazy when the Rosetta Stone commercials would be like, become fluent in 3 months. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Like, you don't become fluent in your native tongue until you're like, I think they say like you're truly like fluent by, I think, like 8. Yeah. So that just goes to show you. The other thing is, well, so how structured are your like what? Give me the breakdown of what do your Spanish lessons look like?
Well, we essentially just follow this online textbook, so it's rather structured. I'm actually starting to think. Well, actually, this is more her starting to think that maybe it should be less structured. And for example, after we did this one section in the textbook,
I agree.
Which seemed to be, as I mentioned, draining. We actually like looked at YouTube videos that were like about people talking about their growing up in Hispanic households, And
Right.
like they would like say random phrases, and I would like pause and be like, wait a second, so is he saying this or blah blah blah? And
That's
that
great, though.
obviously seemed
That's
way
really
more
good.
enjoyable and less exhausting than the textbook stuff we were doing.
So here's the thing. I would say if you are trying to learn academic Spanish, which I don't think you are, I don't really think you need a textbook. Like it might help you a little bit, but I would say watch YouTube videos, watch a movie with her in Spanish with English subtitles.
Well, that's a good idea.
Do a movie night. Have some good wine. Have a little movie night or some cerveza, whichever you prefer. And so here's the thing. Like, I think a textbook is good in terms of being able to read Spanish and write Spanish, but really because Spanish is a phonetic language, for the most part, if you can speak it, you can kind of get away with reading it. Right?
Okay.
So I would say, one, you guys should just try to have very basic conversations. Very, very basic conversations of, and I know this sounds really stupid, but do some role plays. Do like you're at a store and you need to buy. I knew you were going to take it there. Do some role plays. You know, like she's the store clerk and you need to find something, or you're going shopping and you want to know if they have this T-shirt in blue instead of red, or do you have a medium instead of a large? Blah blah blah. Things like this. I would say role plays are good, and even if you co-write the role play with Sydney and then go through it is also fine. You know, and I would say you should try to write as much as you can. And what you could do is first learn vocabulary. So with Sydney, you could write a list or even look up maybe in your Spanish. This is where the textbook could become helpful. I love how you're taking notes right now, Jared. This is great. What you could do is, you know, maybe there's like at the end of most chapters, either the beginning or the end of a lot of chapters in language textbooks, there's like a list of target vocab, what you have to learn. I would look at that list, practice pronouncing those words with Sydney, and then write those words down, and then write a dialogue or a role play using those words. And I would do that for your first lesson with whatever. Then your second or your third lesson, try to have a conversation and use those words.
Okay.
Right? That might be really challenging, but I think if you study it enough, you could definitely do it. So just more speaking, more listening, movies, videos, music. I think what you should, can Sydney sing?
Yes.
So I think what you need to do is
We did talk about the music too. We haven't done it, but that did come up as an option.
What you need to do is you need to ask her what's a song she likes to sing in Spanish, and you find the chords and you play them on piano, and she sings.
Relax, bro.
I'm serious. I'm serious. I am dead serious.
Okay.
Or let me know the chords and I'll Skype in on your Spanish lesson and I'll play the chords for you. How about that? But seriously, if you can, the key with learning any language is make it applicable to your life. And I'm sorry, but a textbook isn't really that. It's pretty cut and dry. It's not super applicable to your life.
Yeah. And I seem to enjoy the textbook way more than she does. Like, she seems to be bored by it.
So
Obviously,
this is
she's
what
not really learning anything. But,
right. So this is what you do. You learn the textbook on your own. Maybe take 5-10 minutes every day. Just go through some exercises or some things on the textbook. Then when you have questions, ask her those. Don't waste her time going through the textbook. She needs to be used as, I don't like using the term used. She needs to be available for you as someone to speak with, to answer questions, and that will be more fun for her. I hate going through textbooks. Yeah. So I hope those are some decent tips for you, Jared.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me know how they go.
Will do.
Let me know how they go. Okay. So, Jared, it's time for some cheesy jokes.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. What did E.T.'s mother say to him when he got home?
I don't know.
Where on earth have you been?
Oh.
Why do some people appear bright until you hear them speak?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Because light travels faster than sound.
Oh, that's clever.
Right? I thought that was a decent
That sounds
one.
like something my parents would say about like my friends or something.
Right. So, what's worse than raining cats and dogs?
I don't know. What's worse?
Hailing taxis.
Yeah, especially as a black person.
Is that true?
Yeah, of course there's a stereotype that it's way harder to get a taxi as a black person.
Okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Interesting. So Jared, why don't aliens visit our planet?
Why's that? Why not?
We have terrible ratings, only 1 star.
That's good.
Right? You
I
like
like
that
that
one, huh? Yeah, that's a good one. Let me see if I can find any last ones for you. Okay. Ooh, this is a good one. I like this one. All right, this is the last one for you. How does a snowman get around?
Ice.
He rides an icicle.
Okay.
Right? Like bicycle, icicle. Yeah, that's clever.
At first
right?
I was like, how's he riding an icicle?
He's a snowman. He's magical, man. He can do what he wants. So, yeah. So we hope this episode has been useful for all of you so you can have an idea of some travel phrases you can learn. And I have actually a resource for all of our listeners out there. There's actually a website that's pretty cool. It's called survivalphrases.com. And they have right here, so you can choose your language. And you do have to sign up with your email and stuff, but it's a free account. And they have, so I'll just go through the list of languages they have here. It's pretty impressive. And they have videos and all sorts of different stuff. They have podcasts as well, so check them out. Survivalphrases.com is the website. And right here I see they have Afrikaans, Arabic, Bulgarian, Cantonese, Chinese, Czech. If I would have known this before I came here, my survival Czech probably would have been way better.
Parada.
Czech, Danish, Dutch, English, Filipino, Finnish, French, German, Greek, Hebrew, Hindi, Hungarian, Indonesian, Italian, Japanese, Korean, Norwegian, Persian, Polish, Portuguese, Romanian, Russian, Spanish, Swahili, Swedish, Thai, Turkish, Urdu, and Vietnamese. So they have a ton. So check them out, and you can get access to their content archive through an email account. And it's very easy. They have 34 different languages from Arabic to Vietnamese. So check them out as well, survivalphrases.com, and hopefully they can help you on your journey as well. And just to recap, why should they learn some survival phrases, Jared?
I think it's important to learn them because it's just a sign of respect to make an effort. People appreciate it. It's a good way not to get scammed. Maybe it can get you out of a pickle, a difficult situation, depending on that difficult situation. And it's just just makes it easier to get around, knowing basic necessities like hello and thank you, goodbye, please, may I have, or I would like, I guess.
Right.
It just makes it easier for you to enjoy your place.
Exactly. So learn these survival travel phrases so you can respect and truly enjoy the culture you travel to.
Mm-hmm.
So
You
we hope you've enjoyed this episode, and there have been a few insightful little tidbits for you. And let us know what survival language phrases you like to learn before you travel to a country at untranslatable.podcast@gmail.com. You could also slide into our DMs with some useful survival travel phrases at our Twitter handle, untranslatable1. Also check out our website, untranslatablepodcast.com, with tons of very eloquently worded untranslatables from Jared, which we really appreciate, Jared. And also check out our YouTube channel, Untranslatable Podcast, where you can find our songs of the pod and also our episodes as well if you want to see our beautiful faces. Well, Jared's beautiful face and my cleft chin, apparently. So there you go. So we hope you've enjoyed. Get out there, travel, learn new languages, have fun.
Spread a little love.
As we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, Děkujeme a muchas gracias.